Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite dishes from the southern region of France, and that is French-style creamed eggs. This dish is one of the things that creates a lot of flavor and a lot of mouthful and texture on the palate. This is why the French enjoy it so much. It is very enjoyable to enjoy the food. And that's what food should be all about enjoying the process of eating. So today we're going to start by making our texture, and we're going to do that with our garlic fried toast points. So I have my olive oil right here in my pan. I'm going to take some of my garlic that I have here, and I'm going to go ahead and just slice it up just a little bit. So as I'm sitting here, I am just slicing my garlic really, really thin, and I'm doing that just to release some of the flavor. This is just going to go in the oil, and it's going to create that beautiful background flavor to the rest of our dish. So I just took 3 cloves of garlic, and we're just going to slice them nice and thin. I'm not worrying about serving this, but I do have a special purpose why I'm slicing it. I'm going to be flavoring this oil, and that gives me an extra product that I will get out of my process. So here I have my garlic. It's going to go in my oil. And then I'm just going to turn my heat on just very low. Now, as you heat oil, what happens is it starts breaking down. So we're going to keep this at a very low heat to infuse that flavor. And while that flavor is infusing, we're going to start working on our other components to our dish. Here we go with our eggs. Now, a lot of people would want to use a whisk to make these eggs. To use a whisk is going to incorporate a lot of air. I just want a little bit of air, but I want more of a flavor. So I'm going to take about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. I got that. It's a beautiful Dijon mustard. It's going to go in my bowl. A little bit of heavy cream. And then we always season our eggs before we start. So there's a little bit of salt and just a little tiny pinch of pepper. So we have this little concoction here that looks really nice and yummy. Okay? So here we go. We're going to whisk our eggs now. Using our fork, we're going to make sure it's completely engulfed in all that process. And we're going to make sure that it all gets nicely incorporated. Okay? We don't want to see any whites or any of the yolks separated out, and we want to make sure all that Dijon gets separated into the proteins. If we rush this, our eggs become rubbery, and we don't want that. We want the nice, soft, creamed eggs. So as we see there, we have this beautiful mixture that's now 100% creamed, and we have it all ready to go. Our oil is heating up and getting that flavor infused. So now we're going to use our toast points. So I have here 2 slices of white bread, standard white bread. We're just going to cut off the crust, just like Mom used to do with the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Right? And in doing so, it gives us a nice little square that we can deal with. Now, as a smart chef, I would utilize these for something else. Say I have a salad, I could use these for croutons and things of that sort. That would be very nice, a utilization of the total product. So here we have our nice little square, and I'm just going to cut it in triangles. So now I have 4 triangles. Okay? Our oil's getting nice and hot now. As you can see, we have this nice flavor being infused in there. I'm going to take my tongs. I'm just going to spread the garlic around a little bit. And now I'm just going to take my toast points, and I'm going to drop them in this oil and just let them fry in that crispy oil. Now, for my dish, I only need 3 pieces, right? So I'm not going to use the 4th piece, and we're just going to let that fry. I'm going to fry that bread, and I'm going to pull it out and put it on my paper towel to let it drain, so we get rid of some of that excess oil. Our goal here is to get nice, crispy, crunchy bread. This is going to give us 2 bonus points that we have. We have our croutons that we can use later on for our salad. We also have the oil that is now flavored like what? Garlic. And as you can see, the garlic is starting to turn brown. We want to take this to a point where it turns brown, but if it starts turning black, we're going to want to take that garlic out. That garlic will then become bitter if it turns black. So now you can see these are turning nice and golden brown. As we flip them over, you see that beautiful color, and we have that nice crisp texture. That's what we want, that beautiful crisp texture. And you can see it's now getting crunchy on the outside. That's giving us our deep texture. This is going to crisp up a little bit more as we have it sitting on our paper towels. So I'm just going to pull that off our paper towels. Beautiful golden brown color, and nice and crisp. Okay? And now our toast is ready. Okay? So that's going to be ready for our plating, and that's going to provide us that beautiful crunch to our dish. And so now we're going to concentrate back on our eggs. I have here some clarified butter. Now, clarified butter is one of those things that is real easy to make, and we use clarified butter because it allows us to get a higher temperature on our pan without burning. If we use solid milk or whole milk or butter, it has the milk solids in it. And that process of that high heat will burn the milk solids and makes black flecks in your eggs, and we don't want that. So this is clarified butter. It's just a process of separating out the milk solids from the milk fat. And we're just adding a little bit of fat to this pan. Now I'm using an egg pan, which is a Teflon lined pan, very specifically done for eggs. And you will find this in the industry all across the world. And here we just have melting that. Now I said earlier, this is a controlled coagulation, so we want a very low temperature. So once that is melted, I'm going to make sure our temperature is really low, and we're going to be stirring almost the entire time this thing is in the dish. And while that's heating up, we have a couple other things we have to get ready, and a couple other ingredients that we need to go over. I already have the Dijon mustard in there. The other thing we're going to be adding to this is Gruyere cheese. Gruyere cheese is a beautiful cheese. It's a Swiss-style cheese, and it's got a sharp, sharp flavor bite to it. And now we have our chives, and these chives are what we're going to be using to give us our nice little color spark to our dish. And I have some beautiful, I just have them wrapped up here in a wet paper towel to keep it nice and fresh as I had them refrigerated. And I'm going to pull 2 of them off to the side, 2 of my very fine thin ones here that I have that are very delicate, and I'm going to use those for garnishing on my plate at the very end. The rest of them here, however, I'm going to go ahead and chop up. I need to change my knife. And here what I'm doing is I'm just trimming off the ends, and then I'm just going to slowly, got a little bit of a bad feather there, I'm just going to slowly dice these into little tiny rings. I'm sure you've seen this done before in a lot of different things. It creates a beautiful texture to it because it gives a little bit of loft to it. And these are going to go into our dish very, very late. We don't want to cook these because if we cook them, they'll get soft. And as they get soft, you're going to find that it changes the appearance of them in the final dish. We want them to be nice and round and have that circular fashion to them. I have my chives for my garnish, and I have my cheese that goes into this. Now this looks like a lot of cheese, doesn't it? It's a big square bin container, but this is finely grated cheese, so it's very, very light and it's very airy. This is about 2 ounces of cheese total, so it's a little bit about 1.5 servings. Okay? Here we have our hot oil in our pan, and our pan's nice and hot, and our flame is very, very low. Now, if you're doing this on an electric stove, you want to do it on one that's very, very low set. And you're going to see that one of the things that we look for when we put our eggs in our pan is we don't want our eggs to talk to us. That means we don't want them to make any noise. If they're talking to us, that means our pan's too hot. And I can just feel the radiating heat coming off this pan, so it's already a little bit too hot. I've pulled it off the heat just a little bit, and I'm swirling it around just to kind of disperse the heat a little bit more. And we get ready to go. I have here my spatula, which is a rubber tip spatula, which is designed for high heat, and we would want to use that when we're stirring, because if we use something that's metal, it's going to scrape the Teflon coating off and would ruin your pan. So we don't want to do that, and that's why we want to use the rubber tip spatula. Okay? So our eggs are all ready to go. I'm going to pour them right into my pan, and hopefully they won't talk to us. A little bit of a talk, not too bad. Okay? And as you can see, it's already starting to coagulate. It's starting to coagulate and cook it a little bit, but that's okay. Those cold eggs that have gone in there now are going to actually start cooling the pan down. And if it gets coagulating a little too much, I can just pull it off the heat. We have that technology. We don't have to have things sitting on the stovetop the entire time. We can actually put it down here in the front, and that metal bar that's on our stovetop is going to help draw out some of that heat as well. Okay? Our eggs are slowly coagulating, and as you can see, they have that nice glossy texture to them. Look at that glossy texture. See how they're looking beautiful? They're still nice and soft. And what we have to do in this first set is we have to eliminate the cream that's in there. So we're slowly evaporating, and as you see steam coming off of our dish here, you're going to find that that is the moisture coming out from the cream. So as we're getting ready to go, we're going to add just a touch more cream. We're going to add half of our cheese. And now we're going to add that all together. We're going to let that cheese start to melt. We're going to soften those eggs up really nice. And as you've noticed, I've actually had to pull that up off of the heat because the heat is too high on that pan. So we're just cooling it down just by elevating it a little bit. Now we got that nice texture. So this art of coagulation is a slow process, right? You don't want to rush this. If you rush it, you'll have rubbery eggs, and that's what the whole thing is not about. It's about that soft, delicate texture. The French, when they enjoy food and they take a leisurely pace at it. And the reason they like this so much is because it is very soft and warm and comforting on the palate. and that makes it a very nice dish to celebrate with friends and family. So now I'm going to take some more cheese right inside my pan, and now my chives go in. Now I just stir my chives in, and we are almost done. In some places they call this dish eggs magda, in reference to Magnum coming up from the ground as in hot molten lava, because that's what it looks like when it's all done. We're going to draw a line through it, and you see how it starts to folding back into itself. This is showing us that we're just about done. Okay, beautiful. That's the texture we're looking for. Nice and soft, creamy style eggs, gives us a beautiful mouthful, and are very, very soft and very, very delicate. Now today I'm using a nice long plate because I have a beautiful dish that I can allow to create that nice pattern with my toast, creating a beautiful direction this way. Now this is just going to go right over the top of that dish. We're going to turn it slightly, we're going to pour our eggs right down the center of this dish to give us a beautiful, beautiful presentation. And now we're going to finish our dish by placing on our garnishes. Now I have my chives. I have one longer, one tall, small one. So I'm going to gently place these right down on top of it, putting a little tiny X to it to give it a little element of height. And now the last thing we're going to do is put our tomatoes on here. Now I've seasoned these with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And these are just grape tomatoes that have been sliced in half to give that beautiful bright color and give us a little fresh vegetable right on our plate. Ooh, I dropped one. That's okay. It kind of looks good there, doesn't it? Sometimes things in the kitchen work on accident. Okay, nice little dish. We have this beautiful, beautiful eggs magda, French-style creamed eggs that offers you a beautiful, soft texture with the fried toast points underneath it. Gives you that crispiness and that freshness of those tomatoes. And we have this beautiful dish, French-style creamed eggs. Happy Bastille Day, everybody.